welcome to Corner Podcast. My name's Jeff, and his name is Paul, and we're also joined by our very good friend Al Dewar tonight from Character Options. I think Al should become a sort of semi-official third guest.
No. Has he passed the initiation rites for that,
Jeff?
Jeff?
Guest, I mean host, because every time he's on it, he's very popular. So I'd say he's more than initiated. He's done the secret handshake and the that thing you asked him to do, Paul, which I didn't want to know about.
Did he do that? Have you got photographic evidence?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Fair enough. You can have a little pin badge.
Not the old dodgy rights.
Yeah.
Say no more. We don't like to talk about it in public. What goes on behind closed doors?
7 fish fingers.
It's all good fun. So we had a great podcast last time, didn't we? We covered quite a lot of stuff talking about the new 2026 range with Yetis and Fourth Doctor and with different heads and Cybermen and Liz Shaw and everything else. And we talked so much that we actually ran out of time.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
did.
Paul said, "I got to go to bed now," so we ran out of time.
I need my beauty sleep, mate.
That one was really good. I really enjoyed that. So this one will be rubbish.
Good fun. Yeah. It's peaks and troughs, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, that's how it goes. So I'll just kick it off then. Yeah, we've got a ton of questions to get through from Twitter. So I'm going to go straight in with, I hadn't noticed this question before, this is brilliant. JB Laser Models says, would you ever do a 67 Macra as a builder figure?
Oh, yes.
Well,
claws.
67 is my year, obviously. From the Snowman. Yes, I was born in 67 and I'm very fond of 67. Weirdly, the Macra is not one I'm over. I mean, I know what they are, but I'm not overly familiar with them. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't remember it being visually particularly stunning.
I think there was.
Can I show?
There was much was there. There was.
I've got a picture here. Let me see if I can share the.
Yeah, it's like big car headlights, isn't it? Mostly with smoke and stuff.
It was a big crab in the first series, and then when they brought them back in.
They were just CGI and gridlock, wasn't it?
Gridlock. Yeah. When they brought it back, it was enormous.
There you go. Can you see that?
Craft models made those.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, do you know what? I wouldn't be fussed if that didn't turn up.
I suspect that's more of a hazard than anything else with all those spikes on the front of it.
Yeah, if you fall on those things, you're going to be in a world of pain, aren't you?
Accidentally impale yourself on a Macra, you're in serious trouble. My suspicion is, I suspect as that rolled along, because it probably did, those eyes probably...
like wipers.
Went up and down.
They probably did. It was probably why they covered it in a lot of smoke when they wrote it off as atmosphere, but actually it's to hide most of it. But I mean, it's a valiant effort, but it's I don't know, it looks very static, doesn't it? Actually,
I was going to say, I think if we did, I think I'd be tempted to try and push the certain characters that you can push the sort of realism aspect just to kind of make it a little bit maybe more better than it was. It was a bit like when we did the Sea Devils, and obviously the Sea Devil is a man looking at the Sea Devil's neck with a tiny little Sea Devil head stuck on the top. And when we came to do the monster, I basically, and it was the same with Morbius, I sort of said that looks a bit crap depending on which image is there. So we've got to assume that this is a character rather than a man in a proper suit, ASHAD. And I said, we've got to.
Do you really want to go there?
Yeah, really. We got to treat. So I was like, we've got to kind of pretend a little bit. Yeah. So I think I'd do that with the Macra. But
that's interesting. Yeah,
a bit more license. Yeah. Well, I mean, they took a lot of license with the CGI of it in Gridlock, didn't they? So kind of redid them. So if you're somewhere between those two things, I think that would be perfectly acceptable.
I think all monsters are pretty cool. I mean, I think given. Re-envisioned. I think they could be quite a cool monster, actually.
Yeah,
there you go. Okay. Good question. I like that one.
Right, Daniel Pedersen, who's at Bizarre Nerd, said, if the collect and build range becomes a permanent fixture, what would be your personal choices, what would be your dream builder figure?
Oh,
Well, I've said in a couple of places. Well, there's two bits to that question. If they become a permanent fixture, I'm not sure they will. I think we're still experimenting. Each year we've done something different. Collect and build was this year. Budget dictates everything, and I'm at the moment hedging my bets that we might not have the same level of budget next year. So I'm probably already being a little bit more creative than I was this year. And I think I've said before, I'd quite like to maybe try a bunch of different stuff, like a couple of single figures, maybe a couple of bigger packs, that kind of thing. So I wouldn't necessarily hang my coat or anybody else's coat on the idea that Build-A-Figure is going to be a permanent fixture. I mean, if it works blindingly successfully, then yeah, there's something in that. The second part of the question was which figure. Well, I've sort of alluded to the fact that the Yeti probably wasn't my original first choice. I was keener on doing the Candyman, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because I thought the Candyman would be
quite hefty. Yeah,
it's massive, and if you see that costume, it's just got a ton of detail. Bob also designed that one, and it's fabulous. And I think the articulation and the sort of squishy feet sticking out, the way the marshmallows work. I mean, it's and even though it's not my favorite story, I think he's actually pretty cool. Yeah. And I think
agreed.
He could have been quite a nice, big, malevolent figure, and he would have been lovely because he'd have been very colourful. With he's got transparent bits, he's got coloured bits, he's got texture, he's got wires, he's got everything. So he would have been my first choice, but we were told that currently, as it stands, we can't do him. So my next option was Mr. Yeti.
What about that giant Cyberman thing from the Next Doctor?
I think it's degrees of scale, if I'm honest, Jeff. The giant Cyberman was giant. I mean, he would have been, that thing would have been
because they fit inside his chest, don't they?
Three feet tall. It's a bit like the folk that want the sort of the beast from the Satan pit.
Yeah,
it's a fabulous monster, but again, you're talking about something that's about our size to an action figure. So how do you do it? It is not, you could do a diorama with just a head or something.
Yeah.
The Cyber King in particular, I think, was just so massive. I can't see that working. Something like Bessie, I could see as a build.
Yeah, like a little kit car or something like that.
Like a kit car. Yeah, you can sort of
that'd be quite fun.
Create Bessie in a. I mean, it would be hard pressed to get it in 5 sections, I think, but not impossible. Bessie would be one. I've always wanted to do a Whomobile, even though in my headcanon is never satisfied about what happened to the Whomobile, because it was in Planet of the Spiders and then the Doctor regenerated and we never see it again.
Never saw it again. He was back in Bessie, wasn't he, for Robot?
Is it in Area 51? Is it in the Black Archive? Is it?
Indeed.
Where did the Whomobile go?
It's in a lockup in a car park in London. He's forgotten about it. It's one of those ones in the underground car parks covered in a sheet. This is always there.
Just stumble across it. Yeah. Ooh, there's a thought, isn't there?
There's an idea. Yeah.
Authentic 70s soundtrack going on there.
Wow. From Jeff Tumbledry.
Yeah, sorry. It's Paul always likes to go on about my tumble drive. Try living with it. Right, Salvix Customs says, with the return of the collect and build wave, could we see the return of colour and black and white figures?
The black and white figures that we did were done for STCC back in the day. They were almost the first figures that we did when we did the collaboration with Underground. And they were kind of done for a reason. It was kind of maximise what we could get from one figure. They're okay, but I think they're uneasy bedfellows when viewed alongside everything else in the figure range. And I know other companies have done black and white figures as well.
Yeah.
My head says maybe, my heart says no. I'm not as keen. I don't know what you guys feel. I'm not as keen.
Yeah, I think they look cool, but yeah, when you put it in the lineup with everything else, it's suddenly sort of a bit out
They
of
look
place.
quite different.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. You're either doing everything in black and white, or
yeah,
you're not.
Yeah.
And it's got to be quite niche, is it? I think those things. So today, sort of, what did the sales warrant? The kind of investment for production, design, modelling, everything.
It's a bit like the Yeti, you know. The Yeti could be black and white, I'm sure. Does that make it?
Just take black and white pictures. Filter on. That's what you need to do. I was thinking, actually, do you know what we should have? I want to put a bid in for the Macra. I think that's got to be a killer, isn't it?
Macra.
The Macra from.
Have you seen the new Macra?
Yeah, on the special edition. It's quite fun. You seen it?
Very good.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of pictures of that. Yeah,
sort of looks like
a big beast, but he's. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yes, a Macra. Yeah,
there you go.
Go with that.
Put that one in.
Throw that one in the ring straight away. There with
straight away. Yeah, probably. Stephen bacon sandwich as well. I'm sure he'd be doing that for them.
Yeah, he'd be up for that.
Hey, if you can do a hand puppet trash egg,
exactly. Yeah, all you need is a dog skull and a big sock.
That's can do a Macra.
A Macra. Yes, there you go.
Right, what's this question about ASHAD? I'll just skip that. Sorry, Bad Boy 66.
Right, I tell you, we had a lot of questions about ASHAD, haven't we, Jeff?
Yeah, we did.
Literally millions. Yeah.
Throw them out.
They're going to start a petition.
There's going to be
Go on.
a petition
What's
starting.
your argument for the man in the suit? Oh, man's Davros. Go on.
They're all men in suits.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I felt that one in the pit of my stomach. I did. That was harsh.
Right, James, who's at Doctor_909, says, when it comes to outfit choices, do you consider how the sculpt could have small elements retooled or repainted to get more characters in the range? In this case, I'm thinking Liz could easily make an accurate Polly who'd look lovely with a reissue of the Mondasian Cyberman.
I don't. I tend not to. I tend to focus on one character and trying to get the detail right, not on whether that character can be, customized or reused. I mean, I've got a couple of customizer friends, and so I know that route takes them in a lot of directions. I don't. I tend to focus on one character, getting the details right. I think if you wanted to I think it would end up being much more expensive, because if you'd almost be making individual parts and pieces of clothing when you start tooling a figure in order to get that, you'd be molding things that normally would be part of another component, but you'd mold them. So take, for example, the John Pertwee figure with the frilly cuffs. You'd have to make a hand and then a cuff part and then a jacket, and then, how do we do different, does it have a waistcoat? I know he didn't. The cravat, open collar, all these, so suddenly your tooling bill and your tooling model making bill has just gone through the roof. So no, I don't, is the honest answer. With the odd exception, we have when we've been dealing with the same characters. So if you take Ace, for example, or Joe Grant, those are two examples where right from the start we knew we wanted two different variants. We wanted to be able to take arms off and put new arms on and swap between the jacket and the puffer jacket for Ace and the t-shirt, and take Joe's outer jacket off with the big sleeves. So yeah, there is the odd exception, but again, that's just a chunk of extra tooling. So my budget is just
doesn't stretch.
I'm as creative as I can be with the budget. I can't be that creative. Sadly. So he understands me. So.
Is there one body part that's being used across multiple figures, and who did it originate with?
Yeah, weirdly, the one everyone would, I think, drill down onto would have been the Axon, the original Axon in the tight uni suit. With the lovely Axon head and the big googly eyes.
Yeah.
I think, it has been reused a number of times. It's been the androids in the cave with the Cybermen. It's been what else has it been? It's been the Voord. It's been the Sensorites. It's but that's essentially because it is a body in a skin type.
Yeah,
we basically created an action figure of a mannequin for one of them.
Yeah,
as long as the other designs required somebody in a skin tight suit with a couple of accessories on, and that's the reason why that's worked and has been reused. So yeah, there are a couple. So
yeah,
that would be the one I would sort of say we've had some good use out of. A lot of people say Sharas Jack, but actually, he's quite a specific figure with some sort of interesting detailing. So.
Have you done any really bizarre swaps? Like, has that ever been forced? Have you ever been forced to kind of put the body of a Macra on Tom Baker's head or something like that? Something really off the wall?
No, well, I've definitely had cases where I've done add-ons and then thought I picked the wrong body to do it with. In a couple of cases, I have. I've also had that thing where I've made some characters and then suddenly remembered that we had tooling for a completely different character.
Right.
That we hadn't dug out and was still kicking around that we might have used. But I wouldn't say I've ever been. The only thing I've been forced to do was on the Master when I couldn't get ball jointed arms, and I was kind of told, well, the money's committed, got to go with what we've got. And I didn't like that. I thought it would have been better with the ball jointed arms, but it is what it is, and everybody seems to like it.
Is that the recent one?
Yeah.
That was still great. Yeah, it's good. Right, the Celestial Toy Gazer says, it may seem like an odd question, but how much can the elbows on these figures bend? I only ask because previous ball-jointed elbows have given a much weaker range of movement, about 45 degrees when the old method could achieve almost 90. Other than that, I'm very excited.
Which figures is he talking about? Do you know?
No, he doesn't. The new ones, I assume, actually.
Well, they're all individual. So, sorry, his point was that the old ones were limited, or
no, the old ones had 90 degrees. Did he say?
Yeah,
or more even.
It depends on the character.
Yeah,
depends on the character. I mean, I'm off screen here, but I've got Liz, which I can't show you at the moment. But I've got Chili model of Liz Shaw in my hand, and I'm getting 90 degrees out of her arms. There is less, I would say, but that's because the way that the Gen 3 internal pins are designed is that where you have a sleeve before we had that horrible great hoofing joint, which allowed 90 degrees. So basically you have a swivel joint and a big cutout above it. We don't have that cutout above it. So in essence, the top of if I was going to draw it, If he was going to draw, he says, reaching for a pen and some paper, presumably.
Pen.
the way you tend to, the way the new ones tend to work
I'm getting quite excited now.
is a bit like that. So if you imagine that your pin is internal and that's your upper sleeve and that's your forearm, the way you do it is you pin is in here, and basically the sleeve of the upper bit is here. So the bit that allows you radius of movement is that area there. So there's a limit, but it's aesthetics over. But also you get less. You don't have to put things like upper thigh joints and upper arm joints, because you can literally rotate that whole lower arm, not only that way but that way. So it's. I would say Mr. Stargazer, I assume it's a Mr., is right. There probably is less, but it's for me preferable because aesthetically,
rather something that looks cool than
it looks better than having a big nylon bolt essentially through the arm. There are some figures where it's been less successful and more. I mean, the Movellans, just because of the sheer thinness of the female arms of that, they were very restricted in terms of what they could do. But
they
again,
look great, though.
They did look good,
and it's okay. So look, that's my job. My job is choosing what I get a 3D sculpt and I choose the articulation and I choose what I'm giving up versus the movability, the posability. So,
there's that trade-off.
There's 100%. There's always a trade-off. Like I say, that's my job. Some people might think they would do it differently or do it better or whatever. That's I've got no issue with that. But I always tend to err on the side of aesthetics. Where
that makes sense.
Doesn't always work. There are limitations. So,
Right.
That answer is not. So I guess if he's asking, will they all be able to bend their arms to 90 degrees? Wait and see, because some do
buy them and have a look for yourself. There you go.
Liz Shaw does. The Fourth Doctor doesn't quite. The Cybermen don't quite, but then by a strange quirk, the Cybermen are also one of the most posable figures we've ever created. So you've got to look at it in a slightly more holistic viewpoint, I would say, or way, because it's not just one joint in isolation. It's how does that
the whole figure, right?
An elbow joint that doesn't quite go 90 degrees in conjunction with a shoulder joint that now is a ball joint that can move up and out, and a forearm that can twist and turn, gives you a completely different set of articulation versus a Gen 1 figure. So we look at it, but I will always err on the side of, does it look crap, or do we have to kind of just limit the movement? So
that's fair.
That makes sense.
I mean, we've had some. I mean, we've got the Yeti. The Yeti's got knee joints and they barely move, but you need them to have that fair amount of movement in order for the thing to be able to kind of like sling its hip out or move in a particular way. So,
that makes sense. I get that.
Doctor Who figures has asked about the size of the Yeti against the Fourth Doctor figure, which I think we talked about before.
Yes, we did.
But also said, credit to Al and the team for such an epic range. So thought I would mention that. Oliver Watson says 5.5-inch figures of the new series Ice Warriors. And that's that. So
I've seen a couple of comments for that. I know people are very fond of the Ice Warriors. I'll be
I
honest.
liked them, yeah.
I'll be honest. If I had my time over again, I probably wouldn't have done one in the classic range because I really think it isn't that interesting.
What the classic Ice Warriors?
Yeah, it's just a bit of a lump. I think there would have been other better characters. Like if you give me the choice now, if you want to go back and change it, I would go back and do something like a Pteroleptor or a Vervoid or the Pteroleptor Android or something visually more interesting. I thought that figure ended up looking kind of deathly dull, and I like the Ice Warriors, but I don't love them.
I kind of, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are, they're quite nostalgic about them. They're quite fond of them.
But, you could do. Oh, sorry.
I mean, I'm glad we've got one. Don't get me wrong.
You got one. It's out there. Yeah,
classic Ice Warrior. And people love it. A lot of people have it for creation. But yeah, if I had my time over again, I might choose it. I'll be honest.
You could do the new one, like the Cold War one, and have the head be, the helmet be removable,
switchable,
and then have a little sort of rubbery, one inside that you could pull out.
What was really weird was when we were doing the 3 3/4 figures, we looked at. I can't remember if we did an Ice Warrior or not. I don't think we did in the end, but we were given reference for the creature that was supposed to be within, and it was it was actually a mechanical puppet, and it turns up in the rings of Akatar.
Oh, really?
So in the rings of Akatar, one of the cantina, Star Wars cantina aliens that you see wandering around is actually the original puppet for what was, and then they went full CGI in the end. I actually like the Ice Warriors in Cold War, but they always it's for exactly that reason that even updating a monster like that, you can't sit there and kind of go, why? Why would the Martians design such an ungainly kind of life support unit to kind of trundle around Mars with?
I don't know. You don't know what it's made out of, do you? The clumpy, the pincers. Yeah, it's like having. I know what you mean. You look at the kind of truth, if you like, or the verisimilitude of the thing.
I really enjoyed Cold War. I think
it's great.
Possibly because again.
There's a Ice Warrior. What was it? Empress, the Empress of Mars. You got a whole family of them. I mean, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I suppose it's
dynamic.
No, here's a question for you guys. See, in my mind, the flood from Waters of Mars, when they had their crinkly face thing going on, was that a bio weapon that was left by the Ice Warriors? Because they almost said
it is in my head. Yes, exactly. I'm totally on board with that. Yeah. I remember I was really excited watching that because I actually thought, they are Ice Warriors because of that exactly the thing there. But obviously they turn out to not be, which is fine. I mean, was it great? But from the same place.
Because Mars was dying, did the Ice Warriors leave a sort of way that anybody that came looking would be turned into new Ice Warriors?
And if there was lots of life on Mars, you don't need to have just one species indigenous to a planet. I mean, look at this place has billions of species of life all across from microscopic to macroscopic. So on Mars, who's to say it wasn't exactly the same?
Yeah,
aeons ago. It's a good one.
Yeah,
it's got its moments. Yeah. We should do a rewatch on that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a little while.
Do a little commentary episode on it.
Yeah,
so I haven't watched it for a long time actually. I do remember I remember kind of falling out of love with it towards the end. I thought it was a great thing, but who knows? Watch it now, maybe I'll feel completely differently.
I know what you mean. It's slightly uncomfortable at the end because the bit where he takes her back home and she kind of says, "Oh well, now I'm going to go and kill myself because you pissed around."
That and also
seemed a little bit odd. it's also, let us not forget, got Gadget the robot. But
Gadget.
I think there's something about, but there's still something about it in terms of a powerful piece of television.
Yeah,
kind of runaway.
It's a good
they're
piece
zombies,
of Doctor Who,
but they're not
sure.
zombies kind of thing. I thought it's a nice piece of television. I love it.
Let's put it on the list for commentary
yeah, we'll
episodes.
do that. Yeah, yeah. It's
What we got
quite a dark and scary episode. Then you got the robot Gadget, which is sort of doesn't quite fit. But yeah,
He's no R2D2, that's for sure.
no.
That's for sure.
Right, Macaulay says, I love the interchangeable parts on the 4th Doctor. We've seen it on the 11th Doctor too. Would this be something we can see more of, especially on an updated 10th Doctor where he was open shirt and with tie as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken on board that people like accessories and they like figures that have a degree of customizability. I mean, as a single figure with the biggest part of the Yeti, it felt like we kind of had to give some cool accessories with the 4th Doctor. I guess you're always, I mean, I don't know what other people are like, but whenever I've got figures like that or vehicles like that where you can click something off and put something else on, you're kind of left with it. I mean, I've got a bunch of Star Wars stuff upstairs, and you're kind of left with a little blister. Well, I've got a blister tray full of little bits and pieces, and you can't display them, so they just kind of sit there. So there's a little bit of me that says it would be cool to just have 5 of Tom different poses or whatever. But being able to swap it over is kind of cool, and that actually gives you a reason to pick it up and play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, I do a bit like my Avatar figures have got various accessories and swappable heads and stuff, and I change them around every now and then, just change up the pose and stuff. So yeah, I think it is cool to get useful accessories like that.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking at it again. I can't show anybody, but I got second shots of Liz and 4th Doctor, so they aren't literally sitting beside me as I speak, but they there is something about that figure that is very different. It has got that lots of things going on aspect. It can kind of pose in with one foot sitting slightly out and his hands up, and he's kind of going stop, and he's, and I was just mucking around with her ball jointed neck and stuff, and just they offer a little bit more fun than the old upright figures did.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt about it. There's a benefit, but I can't remember what the original question was. But in essence, yes, I think where it deserves it and where it kind of makes sense. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
I would say so.
Jonathan Reed said he saw in a podcast that you were on the other day. If Jamie was made, it would have to be a whole new figure, so very expensive to do. But could the lower half of that figure, the kilt, leg, and boots, be also used to make the 15th Doctor from the start of the Church of Ruby Red?
These are too knobbly.
No. They're physically completely. So I get quite. I'm a kilt wearer myself, and I get quite narky about this kind of thing. But physically, they're completely different. The 15th Doctor.
He's not wearing a kilt, is he? It's a long.
Whoever dressed him, he's worn a couple of kilts, but I have to say, whoever dressed him in his kilt didn't know what the frick they were doing. Jamie's kilt is, well, both of Jamie's kilts are quite different. In the Highlanders, he wears what could kind of be described as a great kilt, which is essentially the proper version of the kilt, which is a huge long length of plaid pleated up. It's not done very well on the show, but it's in essence it's right. So it's got a huge long plaid. It's all pleated up with a belt behind it, and you lie down on the ground and belt the kilt onto you, and then you pull the sash over your shoulder and you tuck it down at the front. So he's wearing a great kilt in the Highlanders, and then essentially what he ends up wearing further down the line is essentially an off the rack it's a commercial kilt, probably made for him, but in essence, it's an off-the-rack,
follows that pattern.
modern commercial kilt with. I think he sometimes wears his sported. So, but the 15th Doctor's kilt is completely different. The lower legs would be completely different, and physically, the 15th Doctor and Jamie are completely different. So, not in a million years would I even think about trying.
Oh yeah, he did have a kilt, didn't he? Yeah.
Put those through a chemical to try and splice them together.
Yeah.
I think it would compromise both of them.
Yeah.
And leave you with nothing that really satisfied.
Yeah. Just
in my opinion.
That makes good sense to
but
me.
I like his thinking.
Yeah, it's good thinking, yeah. Silly Goose Benji says, if this...
that expression, he's already...
You silly goose, you.
Silly goose. Go on. Tell me what Benji says.
If this range is successful, could it lead to some more 13th Doctor era figures down the line? And the next question is it's another ASHAD question. You think we're setting these up? We're not.
Yeah, I mean, it's pie. To a degree, we're talking pie in the sky. Generally, lots of things could happen. Whether this line is successful or not, the hope is that at some point in the next year and a half, there will be something about the future of Doctor Who, and there will almost certainly be a push or a drive to do it, as in it would be extremely odd to have, or hopefully have, the license for Doctor Who and then suddenly not being anything to do anything to do with the current series. So this year is this year. Next year I have some tentative plans in place. There's some stuff in the 13th Doctor era that I think are worthy, but it's weird. I've noticed on the forums that there's a bunch of people that sort of seem to think that the current or more recent Doctor has been somehow badly done by. I actually don't agree with that.
Shooty.
Yeah, just generally modern Who has somehow been, massively neglected. I think I've said in the past, the reason it's gone the way it's gone is, E&M for years kept the line going, and it was easier to do in a lot of cases characters from the classic series because to a degree they are easier to do because they're not specific, they're not so bespoke. The more it's kind of come into the modern era, the characters, the villains, the monsters, the aliens become very bespoke, and then so we kind of ended up with a bank of stuff that came out via B&M of characters and people that were, might be a bloke in a suit with a new head, or Romana using an old Sarah Jane figure or stuff like that. And it's more, in those days, it was more a case of what can I do for the very limited amount of money I've got. So it's not that we're kind of deliberately not doing the new series at all. I mean, this current range, we've got Dark Water Cybermen, we've got Mr. Ring-a-Ding, we've got 50th Doctor, we've got Duggadoo.
Duggadoo. I keep thinking his name's Poodle for some reason. Poodle-Doo. Poodle-Doo and Mr. Ring-a-Ding.
Like I say, and the other point that, again, I can only make it so many times is it's already a 3-year back catalogue, and it's getting bigger. Yeah. It's only getting bigger, and
you can't do all of it.
We can't do all of it. It's not possible.
No.
So some things will get done, and some things won't.
Yes.
But I have to also go on the basis of, what do I hear the most people clamoring about?
Yeah, what's going to sell?
If it comes down to eras, I hear people clamoring about the older eras long gone than the more recent ones. You know.
Interesting.
So we try and be fair, I guess. Is the answer. But I don't buy into this idea that the modern series has been neglected.
I think it's been pretty well represented from the stuff you've done. It's
we got a brand new Doctor out of the 30th Doctor.
Twice.
We got the Fugitive. We got we got the Dalek. We got there's a ton of other stuff.
Yeah,
we do. We got Ryan. We got.
You did those guys.
All the companions bar one. There's a good amount of stuff out there. Could we do more? Yeah, sure. But
could you fairly easily do the prison outfit from the Dalek one where she's got the red thing with the black
the Guantanamo Bay
jumpsuit. Yeah, we looked at that. It's like, you have to do a new upper torso because there's a couple of obvious issues you have to accommodate.
Yeah, she's not as muscly as a male figure. Yeah,
she's a slighter character, and that's part of the problem. And I suspect it's what customizers run into every now and again as well. Is if you try to take Laszlo the pig guard and stick the 13th Doctor's head on it, it wouldn't look right for a very specific reason, which is it's a compromise, and it's maybe too much of a compromise. So, but yeah, there's for sure there's definitely a couple of 13th Doctor era figures I'd quite like to do.
Saucy. Okay.
And I will leave it at that. So yeah, nothing's off the table, but it really is year to year, and we do try and even it out where we can.
Yeah. No, I think it's
Watch
a good
this
mix.
space.
Yeah. Okay. Acquainted Guy says, regarding the 15th Doctor set, were there any different plans for the set, like the Vindicator or Belinda, or was it always going to be 15, Ring-a-Ding and Dug-a-Doo? This isn't really a question, but I hope you guys do Belinda next year. He says.
Belinda, no, we didn't. I will be honest, she was on some potential plans, but I think given where she ended up in the series, being in essentially 3 episodes, it kind of didn't. And I love Lux, so I'd have loved to have done her in that yellow dress. She looked absolutely stunning in that. But no, the Vindicator was touched on as a possibility, but again, it seemed, given the choice of Vindicator, which did bugger all, versus Dug-a-Doo, which is a character
It's got to be Dug-a-Doo, isn't it?
Yeah, Vindicator's just a gun.
Dug-a-Doo every time.
It's just a wee gizmo. Hey.
Yeah.
So yes, the 15th Doctor set was essentially always 15th Doctor, Ring-a-Ding, and it was the Vindicator for about 10 seconds until I basically went, you know what, we should do Dug-a-Doo because everyone seems to like it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there you go. That's the answer.
Okay. You may not be able to answer this one. Ashley Doak asks if there's any chance we'll see the B&M range moved to being on the online character store. I personally believe there's more potential than realised with the range, and can definitely help to surround the exclusives with related figures.
No, I don't see that happening. I do think B&M. Well, I mean, if we're honest, B&M I think have some issues at the moment this year, like everyone else they're suffering. I think that's going to be reflected in the reduction of the amount of figures they're taking. Quite a noticeable reduction. I personally think it does us no good having 2 ranges that are essentially one is seen as a bargain basement that costs a fortune to develop and put out at this half the cost of or less of the investment we put into the Vortex line. And so no is the answer. I wouldn't want to see B&M.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Now, having said that, I think if reading between the lines, that person is saying, would or could we ever see much higher spec figures coming out as Vortex?
Oh, okay.
But using the old tooling, again, you create a bit of a problem for yourself because, again, you're charging one price for one type of figure.
Yeah.
And you can't command that same price. I mean, you'll always get, I mean, there's already people like, oh, the Primord Dr. Constant. It's not a different figure, in my opinion. And to a far higher specification with it amazing.
Yeah.
But you always get somebody online going, hey, you're paying X amount for this, for B&M, you charge $12. You know, so yeah, it's like, it's just a difficult situation. Which is part of the reason I give B&M to somebody else to develop, because I find it very difficult developing Vortex character exclusives on one hand, and then having to develop something for B&M on the other hand. And you can't, as I've said before, ask the factory. It's all from the same factory. You can't ask the factory to make something high end at one end and say, oh, that's a pile of shit and we don't get paid for it. So, you know, it doesn't have to be as good, because you're then sending a mixed message to the factory, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got to be consistent.
You know, what level of consistency are you after? What level of accuracy? What level of, you know, what's the tipping point between a bargain figure and a Vortex figure? And it's it just, for me, it just muddies the waters all the way down.
No, I totally agree.
You know, back in the old days when Doctor Who was at retail and Woolies and everyone had them, we had multi-packs, we had 13 Doctor sets, we had 5-figure packs, 10-figure packs. It was great. Will we ever see those days again? I doubt it. I don't think the action figure aisle and the toy aisle is really there anymore.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think.
I don't think the collectors would be really pissed off if suddenly we were producing cheap action figures and chucking them out at a high street retailer, and yet saying this is the same scale, the same part of the same universe, but it's going to be mega high end.
Yeah. And
you can only buy it online. The other thing people forget is that yes, the online stuff is expensive, but a fiver of that is postage and the fact that you're paying for extra you're paying for premium packaging, you're paying for the mailer to protect it, and all the other stuff. Yeah, so it's not just about the figures, but I think people tend to kind of go, "Oh, it's expensive," but it's like
that's because you throw the other stuff away.
By the time you're taking the fiver off and all your packaging and you know, it's premium box and everything else, it's still
does. Yeah, it racks up the price, doesn't it? And you know, these things are not getting cheaper, sadly.
That's what I mean. Hasbro Black Series is 25 to 27 quid normally when they come out for a single figure, and that's not including postage. So you're in the 30 quid mark.
Before you even started.
They're not all at that price, but
my Avatar figures were 40 quid. Yeah. But lovely little things they are.
You do love an Avatar figure.
I do, yeah. There's only 4.
Probably better articulated than the ones in the movie.
Do we need to speed up, by the way? Because am I taking too long? I don't know what
Is that
questions.
because I was just going to talk about Avatar? Is that what it was, Al? Because I was going to
No,
talk
no,
about
it wasn't.
Avatar.
It was on my mind when I was answering that maybe I was wittering.
No, not at all. No. Well, there's one more question here actually. There's a
Did you get your big dragon from Avatar in the end? By the way, the big
no,
fly?
I never did. I'll tell you what I did see though this week is like those part work things that you can get. They're the magazines that cost like 12 quid a month, and then you sign up, and then you realise it's just like 1,500 quid's worth of commitment here.
Exactly. 2,000 issues later.
There's an Avatar one, and it builds a Banshee with a metre wide wingspan.
Wow.
The base lights up, it moves and makes noise, and it's really good.
How old are you?
Well, I'm old enough to know I can't justify $1,500 on an animatronic Banshee as much as I'd like to.
Blimey. Yeah.
But wouldn't you like to?
Wouldn't I like to?
You would like to.
I would like to. Yeah. Right, Kaitori says, can you talk about numbers from last year? Obviously, it went well enough to warrant this year's range, but I'm curious to know what the bottom line is, if there is one. And Al's thoughts on how last year's sets did. Was there a clear winner in terms of sales? Was there one figure sort of more
head and shoulders over the others?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Fair enough. but it obviously did well, and we know that things sold out. So what more can you?
It sold out eventually, but I think the days of a complete sellout are long gone. I mean, just everybody's in the same boat at the moment. Nobody has the same amount of spare cash that they used to have at the end of the month, and choosing between paying a bill or buying an action figure is difficult for a lot of people. So I think it's what I will say is the numbers have dropped even over the last sort of 10 years or so. So this year, I think I've said we're bringing in slightly less than on each set than we did last year. And I know it's a build, but that is with the express idea that we will get these in and sell them out relatively quickly, because they do sell out, but sometimes they take a couple of months, and that means having stock lying around, which isn't really a problem, but it's easier when it's in and out and kind of gone. So B&M are taking slightly less figures. It's a significant drop there, I would say, from where they were, and there's less coming in on our set. So, but in terms of figures, quantities, success, not success, I mean, all I'd say is you wouldn't have got this year's line if last year's line hadn't been reasonably good for us.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But everything costs. I mean, that's nobody.
No.
Even in the last few weeks, thanks to certain plastic prices have gone up insanely.
Yeah.
Shipping prices have gone up insanely.
Yeah.
Anything that has a sniff of oil about it has just gone right up.
Even the factories were like, if you don't place POs for these sets now, this was 3 weeks ago, we can't hold our pricing to you, and if they can't hold their pricing, then we're in a situation where we can't buy the stuff.
Because you've allocated the money,
or we're paying more, and we can't pass it on to the customers. It does become so. But all the toy companies are in the same.
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of industries suffering that particular issue for no reason. But...
So again, that's why I don't like talking too much about that.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah,
so much is volatile at the moment.
Changing daily.
I'm just going to show you this.
Oh, what are you going to show us? What we got?
Yeah, look at this. Look,
what's that?
This is the Banshee. Look. Its
look
wings
at
move.
It flaps its meter-long wings.
Yeah, it goes up and down.
It does a shit.
No.
Yeah. And you get a bunch of other stuff with it as well.
That's
Illuminated
amazing.
plants, movable tail,
Wow.
movable head and eyes, built-in speaker. That's that's pretty good. Wings
That's a
fold
lot.
out.
It's got a banshee whale.
Say again now.
What does that come in at?
Well, this is this part work thing. So
right.
you get the magazine and the binder and all that. So it's like $1,500 if you buy the whole lot over the next couple of years. I mean,
they're always impressive, these things. I mean, I did build the Millennium Falcon, and it wasn't.
I remember looking at those things on the adverts on the telly when I was little, just thinking,
if
only my mum and dad would buy me these things, but they never did.
That. I absolutely love building that. It looks fabulous. I've got some photos, but and it's really nice, but heck, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And just sheer the amount of money that you have to put down on this.
Just get an Airfix kit.
And you have to build it yourself.
Well, I mean, that's part of the fun. But,
Snap together, aren't they, these things? Yeah, I mean, I got an Airfix Millennium Falcon years ago. It's probably 20 years. I think I got it when the special editions were coming out. It was bought for my birthday.
I've got a little one on my shelf, but I can't get it.
Oh, what have you got?
I got a little Banshee, but it's behind a book. I can't get to it very
all
easily.
Excited, He wanted to share it with us.
Yeah.
His little face. Oh, I feel bad now. Oh dear. We got any more questions?
No, that's the end.
There was one I saw on YouTube.
Oh, was
there? About Tom Baker, the Tom Baker heads. It was quite a long question. I think it's quite funny. It made me laugh because someone was obviously really, really excited. And it's almost like they kind of brain farted the entire paragraph in about 2 seconds.
Let me have a quick look. The comments.
It starts with ARG.
Oh yes, it's at Newton DKC, who I think is on Galley Base. Al, I recognise his picture. ARG. Can't believe they did sculpt the Fourth Doctor with swappable quote-unquote hair and quote-unquote hat in hair, and the factory messed it up. Can they not alter it to use the same post or whatever? Yeah? Rest assured, I shall fix this little factory mishap when I get mine. It's one of the many features I have been begging for forever, and effectively gives you 4x looks from the two expressions and hair without hat.
I think that's 4 times looks, Jeff.
Well, that is his choice. The simple answer is no, you can't fix it, because the way they make action figure tooling is they use an electrode to burn into the metal, and it's kind of one-time gig. Not real. Well, it's not entirely true. You can, but it's really not recommended. It can go very wrong. So yeah, they did mess up. But I mean, I told you about that. If I hadn't said anything, you would never have known.
No.
I wouldn't recommend pulling the hair off, because that's a removable head. They're going to use a hell of a lot of glue to make sure that hair and the head stay together, because they're designed to be pulled and not come off. And obviously, if you destroy the head in the process of trying to do that, you won't be getting a replacement from customer services, because there's no way they're going to buy any photos that you send us. It just is what it is. It's one of those. It's just one of those things. But no, so I can't hand on heart recommend doing that, because, like I say, there's no way customer services are going to give you a refund if it falls.
It's not going to happen, is it?
The head component
is Tom Baker anymore. What have you done with it?
Yeah, it's just I know what they're going to do to make sure that the head is
secure. Yeah,
I mean, it takes quite a pull. You can pull them apart, but I suspect you'll wreck the figure. Fine.
Yeah, I don't really know why
you're out of warranty.
Want to do that.
What's your general sort of take on modifications then? You know, because there's some kind of wacky ones going out there, isn't there? And it's, you know, must.
Well, so I've got a couple of friends that are into doing the customizing, and it's quite interesting. There seems to be two kind of distinct areas of customizing. There's the kind where you're doing a kind of cut and shut process using old figures and maybe some modeling materials on top, and you still retain a degree of articulation, albeit limited in some cases. And then there's the ones that I've seen where people are taking things like a photograph of a character, running it through an AI processor to clean up the image, then running that through a program that basically gives you an STL 3D file, and then printing that out and then painting it. And that's a statue. That's not. That's not really an articulated acting figure. So you're kind of in a weird. I'm all for it. I mean, if, like I say, I've got some dear friends whose shelves are literally chock-a-block, and
some are really creative, aren't they?
Yeah, and I've taken things like the Tegan figure and done multiple variants. Again, you know, and that's for display. So he's got an action figure display, and he's got these additional pieces. The question is, are the additional pieces action figures, or are they hybrids, or are they just statuettes essentially?
For those of you who can't, who just listen to this on audio, Jeff is gradually holding up his custom figure of Jodie, the 13th Doctor, with angel wings that was made specially for him.
I know who did that, and I suspect she still retains a degree of articulation, if I'm not mistaken.
Does she? Yeah.
Yes, there is a little bit. Yeah. And there was an element of, I think something was filed down a little bit to give a bit more movement. I couldn't get the arms to sort of fully cover, you know, her face, and I'm reluctant to do too much bending because because I don't want to damage it. But you know, it looks.
My opinion is there are some unspeakably creative people out there.
Yeah.
Who are doing some astounding stuff, and the technology is without doubt marching on. You know, the printing ability, what people are able to produce at home and then paint and deco it's just going from strength to strength. You know, there is an argument to say, where will we be in 10 years' time in terms of toys? Or will somebody go into Smith's and it'll just be a bunch of big screens like it is in McDonald's now?
And you just order what you want.
What they want, and then machine in the corner just literally 3D prints it, puts it in a box. And I think for certain things that probably makes sense.
So it's like made to order then, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. So there's no excess stock.
And it's like most things. There's no current. Like, we do a ton of 3D printing at work, and we know it warps. We know it goes brittle. We know certain filaments in damp conditions falls apart. We know stuff goes yellow with age, and you know, we've got stuff that was printed a couple of years ago, and it's literally like it's smoking 60 a day, and it's so yellow. Even stuff I've got that was created back in 2010 as a model, there's some warpage in it. So a lot of these materials, even when they say they're ABS or whatever, in order to make that material printable, they are doing certain things to it and adding certain things for it to work the way it works. What is the longevity of that? versus mass-produced,
factory built kind of.
Yes, factory-built figure. I don't know, and I think at this point nobody really knows. We kind of, I think, you're beginning retail now to find a lot of stuff 3D printed, presented at retail. It looks it a lot of the time, but it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, look,
interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, it's the longevity for me. Where if something becomes brittle and a kid stands on it and it snaps off and it forms a sharp point, but it passed safety regs when it was new, but it doesn't pass safety regs 2 years later. It's exactly those.
Yeah, this is a Jiglet, which is a 3D printed toy. One of my girls gave it to me, and I remembered it was in my pocket.
Right.
So they look amazing. There's a bunch of people on Etsy selling toys. And they don't have to adhere to safety rules. But
that's the other thing with some stuff like that, isn't it? Is how do you kind of police the standards and conformity? The QC process.
The problem. There's been a big thing recently. Amazon Marketplace had to kick a bunch of people out because basically they were letting anybody kind of.
It was quite a big news story.
They were allowing people to trade that didn't necessarily have certification. They tightened all that up and everything's changed. It still gets through, Somebody can make a soft toy and for years now, when we've made plush toys and we've had samples in, once we don't need those samples, people say, shall we give them a charity? And we just go, no, you can't. It's samples. You don't know if somebody left a 2-inch needle inside that thing. You don't know whether it would survive a 20-pound pool test. You don't know whether the stuffing is toy safe. You don't know anything about that toy, and it's the same with 3D printing. It only takes, God help us, a pet getting injured, a kid getting injured. Kids get injured with toys even when they're manufactured.
Exactly.
Your risk is exponentially goes up and the trouble is the consumer is a little bit less discriminate about that.
Until it affects them directly.
Somebody sees a thing and wants it. All the kids want Labubu, and you're going down the market and there's Labubus on sale at the market stall, and they look the same, and they're not the same.
They cost a pound.
The foo-foo.
And they cost £1, but you've literally no idea whether that would pass toy safety, whether a kid falls asleep on it, face down, their airway is going to be blocked, whether it's going to be a small part, whether it's massively flammable.
Or even has asbestos in it, which I think I saw in a news story today for something.
Really?
I don't know where it was now. A whole bunch of stuff. Turns out it's got asbestos in it. Kids have been
here on some of the fillings on some Stratton product. That's the thing. And regulations change all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose on a more positive side, because I hate ending the podcast on a slightly darker tone, but the technology's getting better. So 3D printers, they're just going to get better. The materials
technology getting better, 100%. There's some amazing sculptors out there that I see on doing digital work now that is phenomenal. I've even been at the BFI, and I've met a couple of people that have done some sculpts that I just thought were, absolutely stunning. So, like I said, technology, I agree. Positive note, technology is marching on. And to be honest, if it's somebody's hobby, they're a collector and they want to modify stuff.
And they're doing it for themselves, for their own collection, maybe a little bit of showing off online, because why not?
But that work on a slightly grey area, so they do customs and then flog them on eBay. And again, there's got no protection whatsoever.
No, there's that.
But again, that's been overly negative. But yeah, there is some fantastic stuff out there. Technology is changing.
And it inspires the creators of the future as well, the modelers, the sculptors, in whatever kind of media, whether it's, a chisel and a scalpel or something, or whether it's online, rendering, using rendering software or something, they're all creative skills.
Definitely. And, and the more the merrier. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, away from Doctor Who stuff, I like working on props and doing stuff, and just having things. And if you want to make stuff for your collection that you can't get because it hasn't been made yet or produced, good on you. I don't know it.
We did your proton packs for Comic-Con last year, didn't you? They were pretty good.
I did. I've still got to give
labor of love.
They were, and I've still got to give one a sort of. Jasmine's one had a field test, mine had a field test, but Harrison's one hasn't had a field test yet, so that's good. And in fact, I bought some sculpting clay the other day because I'm gonna look at making myself some ghosts. The library ghost is my next.
Oh, cool! That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's actually.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
brilliant stuff.
Yeah, maybe Halloween this year.
We can do
something.
You got to share us share it with us.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, they were all good questions. I enjoyed that. I don't think there was anything controversial in there.
I don't think so. No. We cut that. Well, yeah, we cut the bit from last week's episode where you told us every planned figure for next year, didn't we?
Yeah. That's on a cutting room.
That's an ever-moving feast as well. I literally sent an email this morning saying, "Oh, I think we should maybe do these. The ones we've chosen." I re-looked at it and I went, "That's a bit boring."
Line in the sand. You got to draw the line somewhere and say, "Right, that's it. That's what we're doing. It's committed, signed off, gone to factory. Can't change it now."
Fold up that ASHAD with flying cyber heads concept and tossed it casually across the room to the PlayStation.
I'm going to pay for this one day, I'm telling you. Oh, dear. Al, as always, mate, thank you so much for joining us on Who Corner to Corner podcast. We've had a lot of fun listening to your tales and answering questions from our lovely listeners and followers.
And I think we should do a watch along soon.
Yes, let's do that.
It's well overdue. It's been a while, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll pick a few episodes and we'll put it out to a vote, and then
maybe we can do a viewer watch along. We can all watch along.
I don't know if do that.
Why don't we? We haven't done a live for a while, so why don't we look to do that? And people could fire up the episode at the same time and comment and stuff.
Yes,
we'll have a think about that.
I can be wired up, so every time the word ASHAD is mentioned, I get a live quick shock if a negative comment comes up. Will there ever be in the ASHAD? No.
That would never happen on here. I'd make sure of it. In fact, actually, just to make sure that doesn't happen, I would I'd kind of multiply. I'd put some sort of algorithm that multiplied ASHAD mentions and just fed them straight into you. So that's all you see: ASHAD coming up.
In Home Alone 2, where they
see your skeleton,
yeah.
You get your mates.
You go to sleep like having nightmares about him.
Get what's his name? Stephen Butterfingers and Nigel.
Stephen Bacon Sandwich. Is that who you're talking about?
Cake fucker.
Jeff. Right, it's getting too late now. Jeff started swearing. He's crossed that line. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, followers, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Al Dewar.
Thanks for your questions, everyone.
Thanks to Jeff as well for hosting all of this and collecting everyone's questions. We'll see you on another podcast very shortly. From now, it's bye from us. Bye.
TTFN. Bye.
Bye.